Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time it is for you. I'm Cycle, and this is Let's Play Train Simulator. And we're going to introduce the Class 33 today. We're going to do it here on the West Somerset Railway. I figured out why the toothpaste rail tour scenario is up on Portsmouth Direct Line, by the way. It turns out the Class 33 scenarios that came with the actual separate NSE version, the Network Southeast version, I believe it is, of this train. It had scenarios that were on that version of the route, but I have to look up a couple that are missing. Double Dutch and Hazelmere Hassel, for some reason, are not on my scenario list. I'm going to have to contact someone at support and find out, are we supposed to have those scenarios, because the manual for the Class 33 shows them. But that's a different story. That's a different DLC. I'm going to introduce the 33 here because we have the 33 here on this route. It comes with this route, and the two scenarios are already on this route that are not the ones I talked about. We're going to play the first of those today. That is Fall by the Wayside. We'll talk more about and tour the Class 33 more when we get into the separate DLC. So that's when I'm going to talk about that one. But for right now, let's go ahead and get into Fall by the Wayside. Find out what our career missions are on this particular scenario as we work our way through the 6 scenarios that come with the pack. This is the halfway point, and the other one is the finishing point. For D6575, Class 33-0, let's do Fall by the Wayside. Let's get going. That was a massively long intro. And also, I've just apparently been awarded the Crowcombe Crown. That's apparently an achievement that goes with this scenario, so it may or may not show on the ending depending on what happens in the scenario. If I have a clean run, you'll get to see it at the ending. You'll know I had a clean run. Anyway, good morning. The task today will be to drop off supplies at various points along the line for the engineers and workers. Each site is out in the country, so watch for the approaching site crew. Try and stop close by the workers to allow efficient offload of supplies. Close this message to continue. So the first thing I'm doing right away is getting the reverser and everything else set up here. The brakes are down, the power is on, and the reason I did that so quickly before we brought the HUD up is because it's a career scenario. There's probably going to be a garbage timing in it. Just run with it. We're going to run with it. So we're getting our speed up to 10 very, very quickly here. We are now up to 10 very, very quickly here. We're going to try to maintain very minimal amounts of throttle to try to keep our speed in the zone we want to be in. The speed limit is going to briefly go up to 25 as we get off this junction because this is a 25 track that we're on. The 15 signifies the start of the 15 as we go through Williton station. So that signifies the start of the 15. I did not want that much. That looks like an F7 as we go through the station here. We just drove that in the last scenario, and I have to say, I think I drove it really well. You can be the judge of that, but I wanted to increase. What am I doing? You can be the judge of that, but I think I did fairly well on it. I mean, I got a perfect score on the scenario, so it must have gone well, right? I didn't blow it up. Everyone went home at the end of the day. Can't complain about that. So the junctions are set for us at this station right now. We're going to proceed through this station. We're going to eventually hit this 25. We're going to get up to speed as quickly as we can. And we're going to try to maintain that area because the what I can see right now of this timing tells me I'm not going to like it. We're already going to be late, and we just started. So we're going to go ahead and put up to 100% throttle to try to get up to the 23-24 range in a hurry so we can cut it down, because this train, I believe, has a tendency to change the way it applies power, and it just goes into a sudden burst of speed around that point. So I'm going to try and cut it back as we hit the 23. We're going to see a sudden jump in the speed going up. Here it is. So notice I cut the throttle for just a moment to make sure we didn't have a problem. I actually didn't want to cut it that much, so we're going to have to accept the fact that we're probably going to lose a wee bit of time, unfortunately. Now, what we're going to have to do in this scenario is stop at a few work sites. You can see up ahead, work site 1 is in 1.5 miles. That is our first destination. We're going to have to stop inside of an orange marker. Any part of our train can be inside that orange marker, including just the engine if we so choose. So that is what I'm probably going to do at that particular work site, because look at the amount of time I have to work with. It is nil. I believe this timing will go into the 907 section because of how close it is to 907, but it won't go far into that. So we have to try to make up some time here. You notice we have 2 more work sites to stop at as well. Once we make it through those 2 work sites, we're going to be able to continue to the 3rd one, which who knows what's going on the way there. And then we're going to make our way to Bishop's Lydeard, and then we're going to continue doing some shunting there. Once we've done that shunting, our day is done, once we park the train. So the difficult part about this journey is maintaining the speed on the uphills. Of course, it'd be hard on the downhills too, but I want to say downhill's easier. The work site is coming into focus up ahead. We are within a mile of the work site. So this tells me that it's time to look at the speed we're going and how much space we're going to cover. In 2 minutes, we're going to cover most of that space, but not all of it. So yeah, this is going to be a very tight arrival time that we're going to be working with here. A very, very tight arrival time. We're not going to be pulling properly into this work site. Don't count on it. We're just going to try to stop the train before 9:07 if we can. And I don't think that's even going to happen, because we won't be in the orange. So the speed is going down slightly now, which I need because we were getting close to the speed limit. Dangerously close to the speed limit. When we cross into the next minute, we should be within 1/3 of a mile of the work site, which might be enough to make the stop properly and cleanly. We'll find out. I don't want speed right now at all. Our gradient has now come into our favor a little more, where a small amount of speed will actually gain, a small amount of throttle will gain speed again. So right now that's changing how we have to manage the train as we get close to the work site. It's a little bit more dangerous in terms of our moving speed at this point, and possibly speeding or going too slow. We are within the minute of our stop. We should be able to make this stop, I believe, but I'm going to have to do a hard brake application. Otherwise, it is not possible. I'm going to maintain the 25 as much as I can. About 1/10 of a mile out, I'm going to apply those brakes, which is now. I'm just trying to get those brakes down as we get to the front of the section here, which is going to happen very, very conveniently. So here we are stopping now. Much more brakes at this point to get the train stopped so we can get our timing. And that is our first stop at our first work site. So the workers are okay with us not stopping anywhere near them. That's very convenient on my part. I'm going to move the throttle up to 100% now so we can get our speed up as quick as I can. So that's what the work site... Well, that's not the work site. I can't figure out the right view. We'll live with it. So we went out of stop in that orange spot where the other worker was at the front. That was the normal work spot. I'm not sure what I'm hearing a bell for, but I'm hearing it. So we're going to go ahead and continue on to the second work site at this point. And at this point I have a little more time to show you what's going on the map. Now that I'm through that really difficult work site location and stop, I can go ahead and show you a little bit more. Oh, whoa, 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 don't speed up too much. Thank you. Thank you very much. What I'm going to do right now is try to stabilize the throttles and the speed we're going, preferably under 25 at this point, so I have a little time to show you the map. Let's pop it up to 17% and see what happens. And we're increasing. I don't know if I like that. It's very, very slight, but I'm going to drop it back a wee bit. That's not really... 14 will do, I think. I can lose a little bit for now. That's fine. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the map that we're doing right now. Actually, I'm going to pop back up to 16. That's 19. 16. There we go. That'll work for now. I'm going to be quick. So, we started back here just before Williton. We actually started right up here. But we went to Williton. We were going to the first work site. Here's the second work site. Here's the third work site. We're going to continue to... And you saw the a train up there, so that's going to be something we have to see at some point. We're going to continue to Bishop's Lydeard. We're going to do some shunting. Then we're going to park the train up here and call it a day. So we're all the way back here right now, and we're losing a little speed. So I'm going to reapply that throttle right now to get that speed back. And we'll put the throttle back down to about 16%. Oh, right where I want it. Perfect. So at some point along this section, we're going to see our first station, which is Crowcombe Station. Crowcombe. Going to reapply a little throttle here at this point. Okay, the throttle is down just a little bit there now, so, or rather up just a little bit now because our speed was down a little bit. I'll work that out. Here is Crowcombe Station. Now at one point near, oops, let's watch the speed because we're more level now. So at one point, first Crowcombe Station had the Lay Bridge loop in this area. And that was active for about 31 years before that got taken down. So that is no longer an active loop here. And now we're going to have to bring our speed back up because we hit an uphill again. 1 in 100 uphill gradient it currently is. We have a work site up ahead 2 miles away. We are well on time for this work site. I'm not worried about our timing for this work site. I'm going to actually pull all the way into this work site, in fact. We could even go a little beyond if we wanted to, but we'll keep it proper. We'll keep it proper. Now, at some point, we're going... I don't know if we saw it yet, but there will be a level crossing here. I'm going to use the whistle right now for it, in fact. Because the Laywood level crossing, if we have not already crossed it, should be coming up shortly. In fact, I think that is not it. No, I stand corrected. We might have already crossed. I just might be blind to the fact that it went by. So we are coming in range of the work site. I am a little under 25 now, and that is fine. Like I said, I'm good for this timing. I have a whole minute and a half to make this stop. A third of a mile to go to that stop. And by the way, a minute and a half of extra time to make the stop, because I'm scheduled to arrive where I have an extra minute and a half. That's what I'm kind of trying to refer to there. So momentarily I'm going to remove the throttle and start applying the brakes, but it's going to be a little bit closer to being in the zone this time, where I'm going to start doing that, and then I can go ahead and inch towards the front of the zone. That will do the job. Now this was my ETA, so it's actually later than what I see on the screen right now. But I'm going to go ahead and take the throttle off now. I'm going to start braking. This, I believe, is the Roebuck Gate level crossing. That is before the next station. And I'm going to need a heavier brake application now because I'm coming in a little too fast at this point. I am fully within the area, so I do want to stop now. That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and ease the brakes off as I do that so I don't have a sudden stop. And there we go, arrival at work site 2. So we're going to get on our way again. We're now completed 2 of our 3 stops along the track. Going to speed up a little bit here if I can. Sunlight is doing a number on the window here. Nice. So our ETA for the next work site is 9:28. That's also the time that we are scheduled to arrive. Now it seems like a 13-minute drive. That does not seem accurate. I sense problems up ahead. This might have been the Roebuck Gate level crossing I was referring to a moment ago. So it turns out that the 2 level crossings are fairly close to each other. And yeah, that was the Roebuck Gate. The other one was the Lydeard level crossing. Actually, we have 2 crossings here. Well, they're somewhere in this area. That's all we need. No! Okay. That always throws me off every time. Every single time. It's like a programmed heart attack. So we're still maintaining 25 right now. I'm going to keep an eye on these signals up ahead because I have a feeling something's going to happen up here. I did not mean to go down to 20 early there. I'm already on my way down there, it looks like. I didn't maintain speed properly there. So I'm just going to kind of hang around at 22 right now, knowing that we have no reason to go all the way back to 25. Actually, it is going up again. There we go. So I'm going to peek ahead and I see nothing yet. I assume we're going to get a distance signal before anything else. So the distance signal we are allowed to pass. Any home signal we're not allowed to pass if it's in a stop position. If it's in a go position, we're fine. And then if they screwed up and didn't set the track correctly, you know that's on them. We failed, it's on them. Ha ha ha. So since we have a 20 coming up, I'm going to go ahead and ease the throttle down right now just so we're ready to go. I'm a little bit early. I actually shouldn't have done it that early, but I did, so. You can see the road going in the direction away from the track there, which was where roads normally go. They cross, then they go away. Some go alongside. Looks really nice when they go alongside, actually. Both kinds of traffic in one go. What do we have on the signal? That is a distance signal that claims to be green. We are safe to proceed, apparently, based on that distance signal. That is interesting information. Let's continue on. So our next signal is supposed to be green at this point. That is a red. Is that a home signal? That is a home signal. What? No, that is a... I'll figure this out. We have a green to go ahead. We do have a proceed green. So red on the other track, green on the track we need to take. So we can do that. I don't have a distance signal saying anything here, but we pulled in the station. Let's take a look ahead at the station, because I see what looks like a red signal up ahead. We're going to have to come to a stop here. So we kind of got a glimpse of it earlier, but there is a train on the track up ahead. You already got a glimpse of it when we looked at the signal early. When we looked at the third work site earlier, we kind of jumped over a train, so we know it is up there. That means we have nothing to do but wait at this point at Crowcombe Heathfield. You just saw the sign. That is the station. So we're going to go ahead and pull up to the signal because we can do that. Let's put some throttle back on for a moment, gentlemen. Thank you. We can put up the signal. I could have stopped at the station if I wanted to get out and stretch my legs, but you know what? I'm a computerized driver. I don't need to stretch my legs. So we're going to go ahead and issue a stop right here. We're within good enough range of the signal at this point. So we're going to go ahead and stop here, please. Stop. Thank you. I want to stop a little earlier, but thank you. Well, we'll see the arm go down at least. So we're going to wait here at Crowcombe Heathfield, and we're going to wait for this line to clear. Because if I look at the line ahead, you can see that is set against me right now. I am not able to proceed onto this track. The junction is set for another train to take that path. We're out of their way, though. And that's the good news. So the news for me is that the train is coming, so we just have to wait for him. That's all we got to do. Leaving our temporary stopping spot at Crowcombe Heathfield, our third stop is, well, naturally, work site 3. We don't want to exceed 20 miles per hour quite yet because we are still in that zone. I'm keeping an eye on it. I'm going to put a small brake application on now to control our speed as we enter the 25 as well. And I'm going to remove it now so we can get up to 25 because we are going to get up there pretty quickly. A slight throttle application to help boost it. Now I'm going to let it just drop to 0 throttle and let it just drop on its own to the speed limit we need. I'm going to let it gain its own speed. As I hit 24, I'm going to apply a brake application to about 14%. We're on a 1 in 81 gradient, so that is not enough to hold. We're going to go to 19%. That is going to hold us nicely right now for the time being at 25.2 miles per hour. So right now that is a good working pace for us. As the gradient changes, we may need to adjust our speed on the downhill just a little further. I did not see the whistle board for that. I was concentrating on my speed. In real life, you probably wouldn't be worried too much about going slightly under. You'd be looking more for the whistle boards like that. So we're going to go ahead and blow that whistle right now for that board. Now this timing looks tight. I'm not convinced that this timing will be doable. But we're going to find out as we go here. Again, the first timing already surprised me. So we already got some, like they wanted us at a certain time, but we were slightly behind. We were as efficient as we could be. They understood. They accepted it. They even accepted that we stopped a mile away from them. But this time, I don't know how forgiving these guys are going to be up here, because it looks like we're going to be slightly late again. I assume we're going to be okay with that, but who knows? Who knows? Going to drop our brakes to 17% so I can try to get a little more speed back towards the 25. Actually, that was probably a bad idea now that I think about it. I'm going to actually use the throttle instead and throttle through it for a few decimals. That will do a little bit better. Oh, and the gradient is adjusting, so we're going to have heavier brakes. That's what's happening. It is messing with me now. It is messing with me. We're at 1 in 99 gradient right now. I have a 15% brake application. And we're losing speed a little too quickly. But if I go to a 14% brake application, which is where I am now, I gain speed even quicker. So this is a very, very finicky section, it looks like. I might have to just power through and leave the brake at 15%. That's what I think I'm going to have to do. So if I do a small amount of power here, you're going to notice that my speed does go up about the same pace as if I had a 14% brake. In fact, it seems to have stalled there for a moment. So that seems to be the appropriate spot for me to be in terms of what I do with my speed. Notice worksite 3 is up ahead. We have to be there in exactly 2 minutes. I don't think it takes a rocket scientist to realize that I'm going to be late at this point. There's nothing I can do about that. Our ETA shows I'm going to be 10 seconds early, but there's no way that I'm going to make that stop at that time. I have to be there literally in 1 minute from now, according to, well, 1 minute and 10 seconds from now. And I have 7/10 of a mile to go. I cannot travel that at this speed. Half of a mile at 30 miles per hour is as fast as you can go. There's no way this is happening. So either the timings account for extra time from that train that we had to wait for, or we basically can't do this at 1,000 points. And we've, in that case, we've used science once again to show something is not possible. One of those things is true. In any case, I'm going to try to stop as early in the work site as I can, only because I know I'm going to have to try to make up the time here. It might take about 5 seconds to cover the entire work site in terms of driving, but that 5 seconds could count against me. I'm watching the first 0 and 100% right now. It does take about 6 seconds for the work site to cross under there. So if I want to gamble, I could play it like that and try to figure out the exact stopping point for a heavy brake application. I don't have the exact spot in mind because we are on a downhill, so I'm tempted to start stopping earlier. In fact, this is probably a good time to start doing so right about now, so I'm going to do that. 42% brake application. That's doing nothing. I need a heavy brake application. Oh boy, do I need a heavy brake application. Let's get that into the 60s. Wherever I end up at this point is what I'm going to take. I'm going in, still going over 15. Let's bump that up to the 80s. I don't like this right now. I'm at 90. Let's open the doors. Or actually, no, we don't have to open the doors. This is not a stop. This is a work site. So let's get to a stop and see what happens. There we go. That's all the line side stops complete. Once into Bishop Lydeard, we want to stable the train off the line. We got the full 200. I did not know that was even going to be possible. Very nice. I mean, I figured there was some timing, but I didn't think it was going to be that much timing. I thought I would have had to stop a lot earlier. So I'm glad we were able to make that stop somewhat semi-realistically. The first one you cannot do. The first one cannot be done realistically. But that one obviously could be, and I'm happy about that. So I dropped my throttle down, as you can see, the 0 immediately after I got to the high 22s. And I'm at 23 now. We see that there is a signal coming up ahead, or at least as a train driver on this line, we should know there's a signal coming up ahead, because we would have been properly trained on that signal coming up ahead. And because there's a signal coming up ahead, we would also know that there is likely a distance signal that also covers that same signal up ahead. I'm going to start using brakes again now, because I have to try to get to 15% brakes, which is what I eventually hit there. You can see the sunlight on something at the front of the train there. If I were to go over here, another view out the other window for the second man. So since 14% we gain speed way too fast, I have a 7% throttle application just pushing against the 15% brakes so I can get a little bit of speed back. I'm going to go ahead and drop to 0 again now. We are going to be continuing into a 15 mile per hour speed limit. You can see the signal for the distance signal is green, by the way. We are able to proceed into Bishop Lydeard. But we're probably not going to proceed into the station itself. We're going to proceed off the main line because we have to do some, make a stop at the compound. And then we're going to do some, a car drop-off, I believe, at the compound. So we're going to do that right there. Then we're going to pull ahead and stop at the Shunt area. And that's 1.5 miles away from where we're sitting right now. So that's the objective here. And by the way, the next stop is at Bishop Lydeard Siding 2. Up Siding 2, I should say. There's the green signal. We already knew that was the case. I'm going to go ahead and take one more shot at 24 miles per hour here. We don't need necessarily go all the way up to 25, but we're about to. We're getting fairly close to that sign. 0.3 of a mile out, I'm going to start a heavier brake application to bring our speed down in time. Which basically means now. That is doing nothing. So I'm down to 20. I'm going to hold it for a moment at that. Slow decrease at this point. So I'm going to try and go far enough into the upsiding that the track we need to reverse on changes for us, or that we can change the switch on it. Let me actually get our speed down a little bit further here, and then I'll take a look at it. I need to get down to 15 right now. There we go. We can also take a look at the signals as we come up here as well. That is not what I wanted to do. Let's get ourselves back into a maintain pattern right here if we can. That's too high. You can see the train up ahead, by the way. That is not a moving train, it looks like. Welcome to Bishop Lydeard. The ground has smoothed out now. So the next signal is going to tell us that we can pull in the siding. If I look at the signal ahead, you can see that. So I'm going to try to get far enough. That's not what I want to do. I'm going to try to get far enough ahead that when I get in here, into the siding, I can now then hit that switch to move the train. Not that one. This one is what I'm thinking about. Am I on it right now? I'll basically be able to move that switch to get where I need to go, and I don't think that's the right one either. I will figure out the right switch. I will figure it out. But in any case, I need to hit the brakes before I can do anything else. So we're going to be hitting the brakes as we get into this 10 right now. We're down to 10. I want to stop in the up sign. That last track is the one that I'm concerned about. That last track. So that is compound 1 right there. So it is indeed that track that we're going to be looking at. So the top of those 2 switches is what I'm worried about. All right. Right around where the 10 is, I believe, too. Because we're just crossing that switch right now. So it's right just a little bit after the 10. So we're going to enter the siding. We're going to come to a stop. Don't speed. So I'm lowering our speed a little bit now. I'm going to hold for a second Actually, I'm just going to check it. I'm over the switch. I can stop. Stop, 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 stop. Let's hit the compound. That is done. We can now back into that very carefully after we have our stop processed. So we're just getting ready to back up now. Good work. Last task is to reverse into the compound out of the way, which is what I'm going to try and do right now. We're going to put the reverser into reverse. Wow, that moved down quickly, didn't it? So we're going to go ahead and put some power to go into reverse now. If the train chooses to move. Oh, the brakes are on. Why are the brakes on? So we don't want to go too quickly. The junction should be set for us now because I did obviously set it. So we're going into compound 1. We're going to come to a stop in the compound. I'm not going to exceed 6. That is definitely faster than I need to be. No, never mind. It's not fast enough. The track looks shorter, and I seem to be slowing down quite a bit. So we're going to start braking heavily now, and I'm going to try to move a little further. This should do the job. If I can stop right here, please. That'll do nicely. That should do for our time stop, as you can see here. And as soon as we're allowed to, we're going to decouple pretty much everything at this point, and we're going to be done. So over the front of the train, I'll turn that off. I will get ready to decouple as soon as I'm allowed. And I'm just hovering over it, waiting to go. And that's in the way. That's us complete. Everyone has their supplies. However, you have 2 more tasks. The first is to uncouple the wagons. The second is to move the locomotive into the shunt siding. I was ready to uncouple, but then you put the message box in the way, and there we go. Now that you've dropped off the wagons, you must move the locomotive forwards to the shunt siding ahead of you. And we're going to go ahead and check that very quickly, see where we're going. We're stopping right here, which means that I'm going to do this. And that is the shunt siding, and we're going to be done after we get in there. So let's move forward into the cab one more time as we do that. And our arrival time for that is 9:40. We should be there easily by 9:40, and because we don't have anything on our back anymore, braking should not be a problem. Obviously, we're not going to cross that pile of cars over there. Now that is a very, very small shunt siding, so we're going to have to literally, we have like a 2/100ths of a mile section to work with. Slightly over 2/100ths of a mile, so we have to fall in that little tiny area with this train. So I'm going to slow down as I get to the front of that, like right now. I'm going to slow down a bit more right now, because I feel like I'm trying to hit the proverbial needle in a haystack here. So we're going to drop our speed quite a bit because we got lots of room to work with at this point. Lots of time, rather, to work with. So down to 5 now. Down to 4. Keep going. No, don't increase too much. Thank you. This is the end of the up shunt side, or the start of the up shunt side, and the end of it is that buffer. I'm going to put the brakes on now because we can stop any time now. So a heavy brake application is called for. It's not a buffer, it's a gate. So I don't want to hit the gate. We are done, though. We made it. Let's go ahead and look at the train as we finish. Well, there was a little bit of pressure on that run, but we did okay with it. Train D6566 came through, and we're going to go ahead and continue to our next scenario. We're going to go back to the hall, which is, of the 3, probably the one I like the least, so I'm going to be glad we're getting that out of the way. But that's going to be next. That's us complete. Everyone has their supplies and have placed... Let's read this again. That's us complete. Without the apostrophe, by the way. Everyone has their supplies and have placed the locomotive ready for the next run. Huh? Well done. That I get. Anyway, I saw an achievement pop up. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. I'm not going to see the one that we got at the start of the scenario because I had to restart because I was testing some things. But let's go ahead and get the achievement that we just earned on the menu, on the score screen that we're about to see. And there's the achievement. Unlock West Somerset Railway Maintenance Lifeline. Excellent. And the thing I was testing, by the way, was this first work site. I found out that if you actually tried to stop properly at that work site, you would be you'd be at least a few seconds late. So I figured out you have to stop at the start of the work site, and that's what you saw me doing in this run. And it turns out the third work site timing is actually very lenient. You saw that because I was trying to come to a stop and I couldn't get the train to stop where I wanted to, but I still got credit for the perfect timing on that. So apparently I was still on time. I guess when I drove in the site, that's what they wanted. I don't know, maybe. I don't know. But in any case, that turned out to be more forgiving on the third timing than I expected it to be. Even the second one was actually pretty good. That was a pretty good timing. The compound timing and the shunt timing were perfectly fine. They had no issues. They were actually easily doable. So that third worksite timing and that first worksite timing, the first one needs to be slightly later to make it a very proper scenario, but to be more applicable with the times, it would actually make sense if all the times were about a minute later. But, oh well, what am I going to say? I got a good score on it. We're happy about that. And we're going to move on to the next scenario next time. That's the other hall scenario. And I don't have it in front of me right now, nor do I have it conveniently accessible on my iPad right now. So we'll just see that scenario next time, what it's called next time. I hope to have you back for that. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm Cyclone. Have a wonderful day, evening, or night, whatever it is for you, your part of the world. I will see you next time for more Let's Play Train Simulator. And also, you can feel free to support my work on Patreon and join the Discord server as well, since I forgot to say that. I'm Cyclone. See you next time. Bye-bye.